Fox Business Network.
The fallout continues from the college administration scandal rocking the nation. Crown Media firing actress Lori Loughlin and from all Hallmark Channel productions. There she was a regular for years, and her daughter Olivia Jade is losing sponsorship. Both Sephora and others cutting ties with her. Remember, she's a big social media influencer as well. Meanwhile, the high-profile celebrities, parents like golf pro Phil Mickelson, he had to come out and say, you know, we use this guy, but he's professing his innocence, saying that they did hire William Singer, but they did not cheat. Remember, Singer is the man behind this whole cheating scandal, and people are wondering, you know, what's going to happen here. You know, and the fact of the matter is that now you have to defend yourself against fraud if you use this guy. Joining me, New York Post columnist Carol Markowitz and National Taxpayer Union senior fellow Mattie Duppler. Carol, let me start with you because this is just the story just does not stop. It's going to get more salacious. And while there's this sort of Schadenfreude kind of thing against those celebrities that like to point their finger at the deplorables, there's also a lot of other real serious issues here.
Right, absolutely. I think it's a gross misuse of money. I think it's a really sick thing to do to your kids, to tell them that you don't believe in them and they have to go to a certain college for you to treat them like they're an accessory, and to not.
So you're mostly blaming the parents?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think if the kids knew, they just went along with what the parents are doing. Parents are supposed to set the example, and if you're setting this example of having no morals and no ethics, your kids are just going to go along with it.
Mattie, what about the college system itself? Many are saying, hey, there's a serious situation here, and it's about time America looked at this. I mean, we've got $1.6 trillion in student debt. 11% of it is 90 days delinquent. It could fall on the lap of taxpayers. And other issues are here that we should now use this as an opportunity to maybe look into that world.
I mean, I agree with what Carol is saying. What these parents, what these school administrators, what these coaches did is absolutely appalling. But I do think also that Americans aren't terribly surprised. They already kind of assume that the elite have connections that the rest of the average Americans don't. And that's why we see a lot of this populism rising in our politics. And Charles, I think your point is a good one. What does this say about the broader context about higher education in America? To me, I hope this catalyzes a conversation about how much value we actually place on a four-year university and whether or not that's actually the investment that we're willing to make in our future generations. I mean, to say that the only path forward for college, the only path forward for your child is a college and a four-year degree is one wrong, but it's something that these parents were willing to make at the cost of a federal indictment and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money. Right. That cost to me is completely unjustified, but it speaks to the broader malaise of arguing that there aren't any other opportunities for the American youth, and I think that's just not true.
Although someone like this, Olivia Jade, right? She had 2 million followers, I think, on Instagram. She admitted that, even her mom admitted that she was kind of going for the experience. I see an issue here. I call it materialism, celebrityism, statusism. That we're at this point where people rent an hour in front of in front of a private jet just to suggest that they had it and they were taking. And that goes to a much greater problem, doesn't it, Carol?
It does, but you know the thing is, and I mentioned this in my upcoming column on Sunday about this scandal, that all these parents wanted to be Kris Jenner with their little team of Kardashians and wanting to like make a billionaire out of their kids and a lip brand. But if you follow the Kardashians, and for all the trouble they get and all the criticism they get, Kris Jenner's never trying to force her kid to go to Yale. Kris Jenner's never trying to force one of her kids to go to a four-year university at all. And I think if you let your kid be who they're going to be, that's a much better path for everybody involved. Trying to make your kid into something they're not, to have bragging rights, that's the real problem here.
So, ladies, Mattie, what do you think happens? What do you think the outcome of this will be? Do we get a general epiphany in this country, like, golly, we went too far, or it's just another bump in the road?
Well, Charles, I certainly hope so. I think the point that Carol just made is a good one. The fact that the natural path for success is not the same for every single kid in America is certainly an idea that we should be embracing. We shouldn't be rejecting it. And the notion that taking on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and student loans simply for a four-year degree that in a lot of cases forces kids out of the labor force and deprives them of work experience that could be very useful is extremely damaging to a society where we've got 7.4 million jobs open and not enough workers to fill tell them. The notion that our kids are all overeducated is fueled by this kind of neuroses that says the four-year degree and the letters behind your name are more important than the work you put in and the opportunity in front of you.
Yeah, the look at me is in part, I think, is problematic too. Last year, 200,000 teens had plastic surgery. Right. Something is wrong with that. Carol, Mattie, thank you both very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Charles.
it.
Thank you.
Hey, big tech is on a tear. In fact, the sector blowing past industrials as the best performer for 2019. So